félicitations pour votre film. J'ai deux questions concernant les scènes d'action notamment. La première, est-ce que ça n'a pas été difficile d'alterner entre les acteurs principaux et les cascadeurs, parce que la mise en scène, on sent qu'elle a été très complexe à mettre en place. Et ma deuxième question, c'est est-ce que les acteurs principaux ont subi un entraînement particulier pour ces scènes d'action?
Well, first part of the question is talking about the action sequences. I mean, obviously, they're very complex when we see them on screen. How tough was it to alternate, in a way, the real actors, so to speak, and the stuntsmen? How did you work that?
Depends on the actor. It really does depend on the actor. The cab sequence was virtually all the guys, and they made big mistakes. I mean, poor, yeah, Taron got punched really hard twice, which one of them's in the when Charlie punches him and the glasses go like that, and in the cab that was real, and thank God it was in focus. There's a balance, because a lot of, I mean, you look at Tom Cruise, who does virtually everything himself, and the poor guy has now broken his ankle, and there's a sort of there's a wish that some actors want to do it all, and it's great because it's quite exciting to have an actor that is that committed. There are other actors who go, oh, let the stuntman do it, and you can just tell when it's so. Because I think even when you're doing a stunt, you're still telling a story and you're still performing. Punching someone is just as much as important as delivering a line, and so I encourage the actors, as long as it's safe, to do it as much themselves, and as long as they're not total wimps. Some of them are, but some of them aren't.
We will not ask names. Second part of the question was, sorry? Oui, oui.
There wasn't, I think, was it?
What was the second part?
La deuxième partie, c'était est-ce que les acteurs principaux ont subi un entraînement
Oh
particulier?
yeah. Did the main actors, I mean, go through a specific training to be ready for your cameras?
Oh yeah. Oh God, yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah, no, ask them, they will bitch and complain. No, we do like 3 months. That that action, you don't make it up on the day. You don't make up the camera movement, you don't make up the choreography. It's all, we do everything with the act. Well, actually, first of all, we do everything with stunt guys on video. And then they learn every move, and we cut, and I tell them until I can replace every shot on the video, they haven't learned the sequence well enough. And they get hurt, and weirdly they have to train more not to damage themselves. Because I mean, like for example, Colin hurt himself really badly, and we lost 5 days of filming with him because he couldn't walk anymore. Like he actually did the sequence where he's running, and they've got the dog, and the dog hits his leg, and he falls over and hits the skittles. That wasn't meant to happen. He was just meant to be running. He snapped his hamstring, and he fell over and slid along. So it looked pretty good. So then we put the dog hitting him. So that's why it actually looks so real with him. He'd gone. But so it's yeah, they train hard. Yeah, they have to train hard. If they don't train hard, weirdly, like Colin, sometimes just running you can hurt yourself. And we push them. We push them pretty hard.
Question ici.
Vous parliez d'une.
What is your? I can see what rugby shirt. I mean, it's what football shirt is that?
Mannschaft.
What's one shirt?
Germany.
It looks German, but you're French.
Yes.
Why are you wearing a German shirt?
They're all better.
British suits are better.
Yeah, well, then we're not better at football either, so I know the feeling. Sorry.
Vous parliez d'une version de 3h40. Est-ce qu'on pourrait penser pour la sortie vidéo avoir une version longue du film? Et j'ai également lu que normalement vous réaliseriez un troisième film. Donc là il y a des nouveaux personnages qui sont apparus. Est-ce que vous pensez qu'on pourrait encore étendre l'univers Kingsman à travers d'autres films?
Well, first of all, the question was, if you're mentioning a 3-hour, 40 minutes version, would we be able to see that when the video is released, for instance?
Maybe. I mean, for example, there were, the dining room sequence in this film. When you flash back to Eggsy and stuff. That was a scene we shot for the other movie. So then and my big idea with the way to market the movie was to say Colin's only in it in flashbacks. So, do you know what? This might be the first time I'll do a longer cut, because there's a huge love story between Merlin and Ginger, which is really funny and yeah, worth watching. And some really there's some really cool stuff that we cut out. So there's maybe yeah.
Merlin and Ginger. All right. Well, actually, new characters are introduced in your film, and you were mentioning earlier that you were thinking and already working on the third Kingsman. I mean, what can we expect? Where will you expand this universe of yours and this world of yours?
Well, again, it's just a continuation of the characters. So at the end, you got Eggsy as a prince, for Christ's sake. You know, what's he going to be doing? You have Channing, who's now a Kingsman, but still the cowboy boots on, really confused about what the fuck's going on. He's being punished for being whatever, tequila. Halle Berry is now Agent Whiskey, so she's got a journey to go on. Someone's going to have to replace Merlin, because that's a big hole to fill. The villain, I've written is so out of, I mean, I thought we had to do 2 movies to get people warmed up for what the villain is literally out of this, I mean, just nuts. And what else do we leave from that? And then you've got Galahad now, who's learned a lot about life. The old Galahad's the new Galahad. So yeah, these guys, we're ready just to continue.
Yeah.
But it is, if anyone can guess the sequel, I will be depressed, because I think it's something that no one, after that I have to go back to normal filmmaking.
Normal filmmaking. Normal, maybe.
Yeah.
Hi. Hello.
Hello, I don't know where you are.
Yeah.
There, okay, hello.
Hi. Why was it so important to bring Colin Firth back for the continuation? Could you have done without him? Or?
Yeah, I mean, yes, okay. Could we have done without Colin? Yes. However, when I started writing it, Jane and I were writing, and I was with Jane, and I went, this doesn't feel right. You know, I don't want to say it, but we know it's as good as the Beatles, but it sort of felt like we lost McCartney, you know, and Colin's a friend, and he's such a great character, and I was just like, you know what, let's experiment with it. And so we wrote a scene, and I was thinking we already come up with the Kentucky stuff, and I thought, and it was pure coincidence that the church was in Kentucky. I didn't even pick Kentucky. Some art director had written Kentucky on the church, so that was a coincidence. And I thought, hey, hold on, they're 10 miles away from the church. So I wrote the scene, and I wrote Alpha Gel. And I was like, how are you going to get away with this? I don't know, right? And then I was thinking, well, maybe, I remember in Dallas when Bobby Ewing, do you have Dallas in France? Remember Dallas? Yeah, we're getting old, you know.
Yeah, we are, sorry.
Yeah. But Bobby Ewing came out of the shower, and it was all a dream for Pam Ewing. And I remember thinking, that's fucking stupid, right? But I didn't care, because I got Bobby Ewing back. So I was thinking, even if people don't like it, the minute of going, oh, really? Gives you back a character we love. But I was still on the fence, and I'm not making this up, so I've written Alpha Gel, and then the next day I thought I better look up. Alpha Gel is ridiculous, because I just went alpha, you know, it was a filler of a question, filler, I mean statement. And so I looked up on how the brain works, and it said what you'd have to do is fix the brain's alpha waves. And I was like, okay, that's a fucking sign that I call it Alpha Gel, and we're now fixing the alpha waves. And so I was like, okay, he's staying in. So that's why.
Question here.
Hello again. I have a.
I can't see anyone right now. It's so bright, and I have dirty glasses on. So just so you know, that's why I'm peering. But
Okay, so I have probably a tricky question
I'll bring it on.
about another movie. Like lately, we have a lot of news talking about a sequel about a superhero, saying about
Howard the Duck.
Not this one.
No?
No, Man of Steel. So I've seen a lot of articles speaking about what you thought about the movie and that you may be interested
Right, okay. Yeah.
about a sequel. Is this something you probably would do after Kingsman, since you were talking about normal movies?
So what was the question? You want me? Would I be doing? Am I going to direct Superman? Is that it?
If you want to,
Yeah.
it's mostly, would you like to switch to this kind of work after Kingsman?
I don't know the answer. I mean, I've played in the X-Men universe, and I enjoyed it, but I didn't enjoy working with the studio. I mean, it's very, very weird when you're trying to. Can you imagine, I don't know if you guys, you're all writers, but imagine as you're painting a picture, having someone saying, make that blue, why you make that green, you know, obtains that. And you're like, let me just fucking paint and then tell me what's wrong with it. But, you know, and the Superman, I still think, I love the Dick Donner Superman film. Again, I saw it as a kid. And we've been talking, so I'm not going to say no. I haven't said yes either. But if I was allowed to really play with Superman and do something really different with him, then I'd be interested, yes. But I'd have to be given freedom. Otherwise, there's no point. I may be directing it, but it's still be a studio directing it, really. So that's.
Dernière question, last question.
Alors moi c'est une question sur toujours Colin Firth.
It's Superman.
Vous savez pas,
You know what I mean? Yeah. Carry on, sorry.
je savais pas forcément qu'il allait revenir et en fait je voulais savoir pourquoi avoir pris la décision de révéler avant même la sortie du film.
Il en a parlé tout à
J'ai
l'heure.
répondu.
Oui.
Désolé.
Donc une autre question, il a dit qu'il n'était pas content que ça avait été dit.
Ah, c'est
Autre question, no, because you'd already answered, because saying, were you happy that it was revealed that Colin would be on board? You'd already
No.
answered that.
No,
So
no.
So last question,
No.
voilà.
No.
Pas content, d'accord.
Étant donné que X-Men, Kick-Ass et Kingsman sont tous des adaptations de comics, quelle a été la plus grosse différence de travail entre ces trois adaptations? Enfin, la plus grosse différence.
Well, you adapted, I mean, 3 comics. Which were the challenges, or the different challenges between those 3? How did you approach each of them? X-Men, Kick-Ass.
Yeah, no, I know the comics. I'm just trying to remember,
Yes.
trying to remember the process. X-Men was relatively easy because the last one was so bad that I just for it that it was just make a semi-decent film and you're okay. So and I went back to the original because we set it in the 60s and the comic was invented in the 60s or written in the 60s. It was that was a very easy adaptation. Kick-Ass was hard because we just had to give it a little bit more heart and story because Mark's very good with ideas, but some of his characters are pretty mean. And Kingsman, I sort of co-wrote the comic with Mark, so that was, again, we were imagining it as a film, so that was, I think Kick-Ass was the hardest, X-Men the easiest, and Kingsman the weirdest because I was part of it. It was the first time I'd been involved with something right at the beginning.
All right, well, just a last statement note. I mean, basically, ginger, whiskey, champagne, tequila, just to find out if you had a code name, what would it be?
Mine?
Yes. Which
Like I
one
say,
would
normally
you
the
choose?
silly questions are from there, not
No,
from
to end on a fun note.
I would, it sounds crazy, but because it's so English, I'll be Agent Sherry.
Thank you very much, Agent Sherry, for being here.